Good evening. As shoppers hit the high street for last-minute Christmas gifts, there's a warning. The UK economy is headed for the worst of all worlds. Revised fiscal figures show zero growth over the summer months. The Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, says the UK government faces a huge challenge in fixing the economy, insisting her October budget would ultimately deliver growth. Here's our political reporter, Laura Alderman.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
No amount of rain could dampen the spirits of performers and shoppers in Dundee today, many of whom were picking up last-minute Christmas presents.
Bits and pieces for the toys and stuff like that, yeah, just for my nieces and nephews and stuff, yeah.
Toys for the kids. I've done more in store this year, actually. I've not done much online.
If you go online, they're pricier, plus you need to pay for like shipping and that.
We've got all sorts of exciting things in here, but I can't tell you everything because if they're watching on TV now, I'm going to give it all away.
But for businesses, there's little festive cheer. Revised growth figures from the Office of National Statistics show the UK economy flatlined between July and September this year in the run-up to the Chancellor's autumn budget.
Look, this Labour government is going into 2025 with absolute resolve to work with investors, wealth creators and workers across the country to stimulate economic growth and improve living standards for workers across the country.
But retailers are nervous. The owners of this shop in Edinburgh were planning to open up new premises in Glasgow, but are now holding back, deciding to focus more on online sales.
It's definitely tough in terms of making sure we're making a profit and making good margin on things, especially with the increase in things like national insurance. This year we did partake in Black Friday for the first year that we've done it, just because you do feel like we're aware, I think everybody's aware that customer spending is, people are looking for a bit of a bargain.
Disposable incomes are very closely linked to the economy's performance, and what we have is a situation where retail growth is at best limited.
After splurging over the Christmas period, consumers tend to tighten their purse strings in January. But at the same time, investors and businesses will be looking to the government to boost confidence and get the economy moving again. If that doesn't happen, experts warn the threat of another recession cannot be ruled out. Laura Alderman, STV News, Edinburgh.
A pilot has died in a light aircraft crash in Fife. The 50-year-old man was the only person on board the plane which came down near Kinlassie this morning. An eyewitness has described how he heard the engine stalling and saw the plane nosedive. Susan Nicholson reports.
On a hillside in Fife, the wreckage of a light aircraft. The plane came down at around 11:40 this morning near the village of Kinlassie. It's just over a mile from Fife Airport, a base for flight training and private aircraft. The moments before the crash were witnessed by local resident Davy Nicholson.
I was just coming out of the house and I heard the airplane coming over and it didn't sound as if it was running correctly. So I had a look and the next thing I heard it stalling and it just nosedived into the ground. And I heard the bang from down the bottom of the village.
Late this afternoon, police confirmed that the pilot, a 50-year-old man, had been killed. His next of kin have been informed. No one else was on board.
There was a huge response from the emergency services with the police and fire brigade in attendance. And the police remain here this evening. They've got this hill pretty much cordoned off. It's obviously a popular walking area, but the public, they can't really get access at the moment. There are police officers standing guard on all the tracks and paths which lead over towards Mark Inch. That's because there has to be recovery at the scene itself and an investigation has to be carried out to find out the cause of this crash. Just what caused this light aircraft to come down and crash here near the village of Kinlassie. Susan Nicholson, STV News.
Other stories now, and two drug smugglers from Argyll who attempted to import cocaine with a street value of £42 million on a dinghy have been jailed. Officers watched Mark Moran from Arashake and a Colombian national unload the drugs on a beach in East Yorkshire earlier this year. They caught Daniel Livingston from Campbelltown with more than 500 kilos of cocaine in his van. Moran was sentenced to 15 years in jail and Livingston to 7 years and 9 months. A 16-year-old boy is in hospital after being stabbed in an Edinburgh street. Police were called to Stenhouse Avenue West last night and say the teenager was chased by a group of young males. Officers say they've been made aware of potential footage circulating online. A 34-year-old man has been charged after a double-decker bus hit a railway bridge and had its roof torn off. 8 people were taken to hospital following the incident on Kilmarnock's Culzean Crescent last Thursday. No one was seriously injured. Scotland's top law officer is criticising the police investigation into a surgeon thought to have harmed more than 200 patients. Sam El-Jamel was head of neurosurgery at NHS Tayside until he was suspended in 2013. Lord Advocate Dorothy Bain says the 6-year inquiry by Police Scotland has simply not progressed as it should have. Lynn Rankin reports.
Jules Rose had her tear duct removed instead of a brain tumour by surgeon Sam El-Jamel. It sparked a 10-year battle for justice that's uncovered more than 200 patients who claim they've also been harmed by the doctor. 6 years since Jules first complained to Police Scotland, the force is still to establish whether any crime took place. Now, in a letter to Jules, the Lord Advocate wrote that she had been concerned for some time about the progress being made in investigating this matter. Dorothy Bain described it as a unique case in Scottish legal history and said this investigation has simply not progressed as it should have. The Lord Advocate has offered to meet Jules early in the new year.
I need to raise to her that this isn't just about El-Jamel. This is about others that have enabled and allowed El-Jamel to commit this butchery for 16 years. We're entering into our 7th year now of still waiting to hear if El-Jamel or any other person will be charged.
Sam El-Jamel was head of neurosurgery at NHS Tayside when he was suspended in 2013. After years of campaigning, patients were granted a public inquiry last year. They hope it will start in the new year and provide answers they've waited so long for. Lynn Rankin, STV News.
All right, time for the STV Sport now, and Ronnie Charters has details of the festive football.
STV Sport, sponsored by C.R. Smith this Christmas.
They had their chances, but at Tannadice, Celtic could not find the early Christmas present their fans had wanted. For only the second time this season, the champions failed to win in the league. But Brendan Rodgers says his players must be relentless as they welcome Motherwell to Parkhead on Boxing Day.
You just got to keep grinding away, keep our focus. Boys have been absolutely brilliant. You know, we'd all love to play 90 minutes, 60 games a season, high intensity football, but it's not humanly possible. You can't do that. But if you can't, then you got to then grind out the wins. And more times than not, this team have done that today. We just couldn't quite show that wee bit of magic or quality that was needed in the final third of the pitch. So, okay, take a point, get ready and move on.
Rangers got back to winning ways domestically after the League Cup final as they beat Dundee, with Václav Černy's second half strike the difference as Rangers moved up to second in the table. In the North East, David Gray says his Hibs players are beginning to answer their critics after an impressive 3-1 win over Aberdeen. Despite going behind, Ellie Ewan, Nicky Cadden and Martin Boyle secured all 3 points at Pittodrie.
At times it's been difficult. We've went through adversity, you know, the position we found ourselves in the league, the slow start to the season, and the players have been questioned a lot about mentality and character, but they're certainly answering that now. And we've always believed with what's in the group that it was such small margins, and if we can put the complete performances together, we know we'll be a real good side and things can quickly change.
Motherwell have confirmed that they've appealed the red card shown to Dan Casey in their 1-1 draw with Kelly, with manager Stuart Kettlewell saying it was the worst refereeing decision he's ever seen in his life. Liam Gordon scored for the hosts before Liam Polworth levelled things up in the first half. Over in Gorgie, Hearts moved off the bottom of the table with a 2-1 win over St Johnstone. James Penrice and Blair Spittle with the goals, with manager Neil Critchley insisting moving up the table is a huge psychological lift for his players. And finally, St Mirren manager Stephen Robinson believes his side have earned the right to dream of a second consecutive top 6 finish after their victory at Ross County. After Scott Tanser's red card at 1-1, Ocean Smith scored the winner with this free kick in the dying minutes. The Buddies now up to 6th in the table. Ronnie Charters, STV Sport.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith New Year Sale.
And now your weather forecast with Sean.
A breezy morning will be followed up with a flurry of fresh delights for lunch. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Very good evening to you. Now, yesterday I was driving over the A939 across northern parts Aberdeenshire, the Highlands, where there was an awful lot of snow yesterday, blizzard-like conditions. But in the next couple of days, forget snowfall this Christmas. The main story is going to be how mild it is. A rare actually on Christmas Day coming in from the Canaries and North Africa. And we could get temperatures tomorrow and also on Christmas Day up into the low to mid-teens in places. So definitely not a white Christmas. Always been on a bit of a knife edge the last couple of years where we've had some snow turning to sleet at the end of the day, but no chance this year. Temperatures overnight tonight about 5 or 6 degrees over inland parts. Western areas we still hang on to outbreaks of rain overnight. Very misty, murky conditions, and I think Col, Tyree, Isla Jura probably staying about 10 degrees overnight tonight. Very, very mild for the time of year. Now tomorrow we'll still hang on to some drizzle across North Ayrshire, Glasgow, Renfrewshire, Inverclyde and Bartonshire, Stirlingshire as well. More persistent rain Argyll and Bute and also across the Highlands. Driest across eastern parts, Fife and around the Lothians. Temperatures tomorrow 13 or 14 degrees. But for Santa's deliveries tomorrow night, well, it is going to be incredibly mild. I think it'll probably be one of our mildest Christmas Eve nights and Christmas mornings. Temperatures probably at lowest tomorrow night, about 10 degrees in eastern parts, staying about 12, maybe even 13 degrees overnight. Very, very mild, so Santa could probably take his hat and jacket off for a wee while whilst he visits us in Scotland. Mind you, it will still be quite damp. Across western parts though, we will see still some outbreaks of rain on Christmas Day. The driest weather once again in the east and staying mild. Not much change on Boxing Day, still staying very, very mild for the time of year. Still drizzle in the west, driest for Fife and Edinburgh. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally from us, it's a staple in the Christmas calendar, but a Glasgow primary school has put a modern spin on the Nativity Story. Caitlin Dewar went along to meet the pupils and find out what it's all about.
It's a nativity story, but not quite as we remember it. This twist on the traditional tale features a flying unicorn on its way to Scotland to meet a new baby, and a host of new friends from around the world. The preparations at Miller Primary School have been going on for weeks, and everyone has their favourite part.
I like the Valley Lights song because we get to do jazz hands in it. Yeah, but where we take your pictures, learning about baby Jesus.
More than 20 languages are spoken at the school by children of different cultures. The story and 4 original songs were written by one of the school's talented teachers to reflect the community's diversity.
We were investigating the idea of doing something that represented the population of the school a lot better, but we also wanted to do something that wasn't tokenistic, something that actually carried meaning. Really what we're trying to do is like find the thread to connect everybody.
It's to celebrate all festivals, all religions, all celebrations, and it's been really nice for kids to feel represented, to feel seen, to feel part of a show that traditionally is the Nativity Story with just the baby Jesus, but we've got Diwali, we've got Eid, we've got lots of different celebrations and lots of people having fun together.
Families, carers, special guests and local MPs were invited along to watch the show. A magical journey, reminding us all that togetherness is the true spirit of the season. Caitlin Dewar, STV News, Glasgow.
Oh, just lovely. Well, that is all from us. Your late news is at 10:15, but from all of us here in the team, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.